Hey everybody, Yuri from Ontaerial here doing a review for Danny at Canadadrones on these three gimbals. So first we've got the Steadidrones Gopro3 gimbal. We've got the RotorPixel Gopro3 gimbal. And we have the 2-axis GoPro gimbal that is on Canadadrones. And I've got my GoPro Hero 3 here to test them all out. Okay, so first gimbal we're going to test out is the RotorPixel gimbal because I have experience with this gimbal and I really like it. So as you can see, we've got wire vibration dampers along with some grommets that are also dampers that come with the package. So how we install the GoPro, just clip it right in. And it's in, and you can see that we have access to the USB, power, shutter, and the Wi-Fi button, which they suggest not to use because it can interfere with your transmitter. So to power it on, we just plug in our 11-volt power, wait for it to boot up. There we go. And out of the box, that looks really nice. Next gimbal we have is the Steadidrones gimbal. It's got, you gotta have your GoPro on a case to mount it on. Then you need a couple spacers because the screw is too long. It's got these rubber vibration damper screws, so we'll see how that works out. Let's plug it in, see what it does. Green light, and I think when the blue light goes, it's ready to start gimbaling. There we go. Alright, so as we can see, the gimbal kind of just stays wherever it stays. So the gimbal does a pretty good job at stabilizing, and you get a pretty big range of motion, but it kind of stays where you put it, or it takes a really long time to get back, which kind of sucks, I guess, if you bump your landing gear or something. That seems to go a lot quicker. But yeah, it's pretty good. Seems to hold. Gimbal we have is the 2-axis gimbal on Canadadrones. It looks pretty cool. You can adjust everything with these screws here to get your balance right. It's got this vibration damping, and it's got 3M tape right here, so you can tape your GoPro right to it. I noticed that it seems like it's designed for the weight of a GoPro in a case. That's why I added this little lead weight. Comes with Velcro to strap up, but as you can see, the accelerometer blocks you from actually putting the Velcro through, so that kind of sucks. But I guess the tape makes up for it. But I just use electrical tape. So let's see how it works when we power it on. Lots of range of motion. Seems to work really well. So let's see how the footage from GoPro looks like on all these gimbals when we're outside. So first we have the RotorPixel gimbal. Seems like it's holding really well. No jitter or anything, moving it back and forth. Seems like it'll work great. Now we've got the Steadidrones gimbal. It is jittering a lot of range of motion, but pretty much everything is causing jitter. So we'll see how that turns out when it's actually in the air. And now we've got the ASP gimbal, which has a lot of range of motion, not much jitter at all. Looks like amount of jitter we can tune out. So it looks like it'll be pretty promising in the air. So here we have the RotorPixel gimbal, looking very solid. Pretty high winds. If you look at that flag on the house on the right, you can see the shadow on the ground of how the hexacopter's flying. flying pretty aggressively, and it's holding the angle really well. No shake or anything, no jitter. It looks really, really good. This gimbal doesn't have as much range of motion, so I guess you can't really be like fully on an angle to the side. But you can see how hard I'm flying. I guess you don't really need that for pretty much anything you're going to be using it with. So yeah, top notch right there. Can't complain with anything I'm getting out of that gimbal. Now we've got the Steadidrones gimbal. It looks okay left and right. Kind of jittery there. Kind of jittery there. You can see there's a lot of jitter going on. Just kind of overall looks jittery, and it's not really holding an angle as well. Looks like it kind of tilted up there. More jitter there, and we're going back and forth. But it is kind of staying level, so maybe with some balancing and some more tuning of the PIDs in the controller board software, you might be able to get it to work perfectly. But right out of the box, not as good as the RotorPixel gimbal so far from what I've seen. But then again, it is also really windy. It's about 20 km/h winds I'm flying in right now, maybe a bit more. So maybe in indoor stuff it's okay. But with some tuning, it looks like it'll be alright. Now the ASP gimbal. Seems like it's alright. Holding level. Get a lot of range of motion, which is nice. So you can fly more aggressively with this gimbal if it's tuned right. I noticed a bit of jitter when I was going forward and backwards. That might be from the dampers. They are kind of dangly there. It's not as rigid as the other gimbal. But as long as you're not flying too aggressively, it should be alright. And I'm sure if you balance your helicopter out, yeah, there's that jitter. I'm sure if you balance your helicopter out, you won't even need to use the dampers because it'll be no vibrations to transfer through. But yeah, it looks like it's holding pretty well. Maybe a little bit of tuning to get it even tighter. But can't really complain with that gimbal. So I'm going to end this review by telling you what I do and don't like about each gimbal. First gimbal, my favorite one. I like how you can slap a GoPro right into the RotorPixel gimbal and it works great right away. Everything's tuned up, works perfectly. Fits nicely under a Phantom. And you don't really get any vibrations from it. It's got this extra grommets to help with vibration damping, and it works great. Things I don't like about it is that it doesn't have anything to drop it lower, so if your props are in the way, you can't really get around that without mounting the whole unit more forward. But other than that, it works perfectly right out of the box. Can't complain about it at all. Next one is the ASP style 2-axis gimbal. Works great. I like how you can adjust it up and down. The vibration damping seems to work, and having a slot for a Velcro strap is nice, and the 3M tape is nice. It sucks that the accelerometer is in the way of using the Velcro strap, and I don't like how if you fly aggressively you'll get sway because of how much play you have with the vibration damping. But I guess that's the trade-off if you want vibration damping. And you probably can't fit this underneath Phantom without hand launching it, so that part isn't good. But it's good for mounting to probably everything else, so can't complain with this one either. Steadidrones one wasn't tuned really nicely out of the box, or maybe it was, but maybe something threw it off. The mounting is weird, but it's probably perfect for a Steadidrone quad, so that makes sense. And I don't like how you need an extra washer to mount your GoPro. And other than that, yeah, it was jittery, so yeah, this one just isn't that good. But maybe I did something wrong, but for the most part, out of the box, didn't work great. So there's my review on the gimbals. I suggest buying these two, RotorPixel and the Canadadrones 2-axis gimbal. Catch you later.